Sensei and his girlfriend Sakshan make a suicide pact. But before they can do anything, they are hit by a truck. Sensei wakes up in a temple where the elf priestess Annette says she summoned him as a hero to take on the Dark Lord. She is shocked when she checks his stats and finds he has no increased physical traits or special skills. He is uninterested in being a hero and attempts suicide. When she stops him, he leaves. His different attitude compared to other summoned heroes makes her fall in love with him. Sensei meets a cat girl being attacked by a death tree. He is unenthusiastic about helping, and the tree grabs him and tries to drain his life force, only to get poisoned instead. He calls the cat girl Tama. Offended, she tries to introduce herself, but he keeps ignoring or interrupting her. They go to the temple, and Annette is jealous seeing Sensei and Tama together. Sensei wants to find Sakshan so they can complete their suicide pact. The two girls offer to travel with him, but he sleeps in a coffin and makes them pull it. The trio has an audience with King Thomas and Princess Charlotte. Thomas asks for help picking which of Charlotte's suitors to marry, the heroic knight Gomez or the minstrel and Charlotte's childhood friend Otto. Sensei calls him a fool to leave this decision to strangers. That night, as Tama and Annette argue about who can sleep next to Sensei, he leaves the room and meets Charlotte. He talks about his desire to die, and she talks about how she cannot decide who to marry. He says she should consider what she truly wants, not what others think. The next day, Charlotte says she picks neither of them and would rather commit suicide with Sensei, making Annette faint. She says Otto does nothing useful except play music and Gomez is stinky, then snaps at her father for trying to make her marry when she did not want to. Infuriated, Gomez reveals he was a demon in disguise and attacks them with Tama defending them. Gomez rushes Sensei and Charlotte, and when she says she does not want to die, he pushes her out of the way. Annette revives and defends Sensei with a barrier, allowing Tama to knock Gomez into a lake. Regretful of his poor judgment, Thomas abdicates the throne and makes Charlotte the queen. The trio travel to another temple run by Annette's friend Isha, hoping Sakshan was summoned there. Annette had her familiar deliver a letter explaining why she left her own temple, but the familiar, which Sensei names Melas, returns and failed to deliver it. They meet a dragon and its rider, the dragon girl Waldelia. The meeting is civil at first, but when Waldelia learns Sensei is an otherworlder, she proclaims her hatred of otherworlders and attacks. After she beats up Annette and Tama, Sensei says it is him she wants and she impales him, only to be shocked when he does not die and asks why her eyes are sad, so she retreats. Melas drags them to Isha, who heals them. Isha does not know Sakshan and scolds Annette for leaving her temple and traveling with an otherworlder, reminding her that everyone summoned so far was a scumbag. As Annette defends Sensei, Kotaro, an otherworlder with the power to summon gold, tries to flirt with them, but Annette smacks him away. Isha says the Dark Lord was reported killed 7 days ago. Meanwhile, Waldelia swears to avenge her father. Tama and Annette buy Sensei a suit of armor. Isha meets him and warns him to stay away from Annette. Kotaro announces Suzuki, the otherworlder who killed the Dark Lord. Suzuki says he is taking over and demands the people kneel. Kotaro points out Annette as the one who smacked him, so Suzuki walks up and threatens her. Suzuki pets Annette's head, triggering his gift, total obedience, turning Annette and soon after Tama into his slaves. Isha confronts Suzuki and tells him the townspeople will not surrender to him. So he orders his beasts, Annette and Tama, to attack the town. Tama attacks Sensei, but gets knocked out when his helmet smacks her in the face. Isha tells him what's going on, but this appears to excite Sensei as he goes to meet Suzuki at Isha's church. Sensei says he has become inspired by Suzuki's story of wannabe hero turned villain and wants to write a story about him. Suzuki takes offense to this and sends his beasts to attack him. The beasts are defeated by a combination of Isha's magic, Melas using Sensei's helmet as a shield and Sensei's poison, making Kotaro flee in terror. Suzuki sends Annette to attack them, but Sensei manages to get her to free herself from Suzuki's power. Seeing no other way out, Suzuki tries to kill himself, but Sensei stops him and gets Suzuki to tell his backstory. Inspired by it, Sensei finishes his story, which triggers Sensei's new ability, Storyteller. This activates a summoning circle that sends Suzuki back to Earth. Isha thinks that Sensei was sent here to fight otherworlders. Isha gives Sensei a new coffin and encourages Annette to stay with Sensei. That Suzuki was sent back to Earth and got a job at a supermarket. Isha meets with her fellow priests and Cardinal Miller. The Cardinal confirms that 7 otherworlders killed the Dark King. Thus, the Pope decided to seal the portals and no longer summon otherworlders. However, the 7 decided to take the Dark King's throne and declare war on the rest of the world. The Pope calls them the 7 fallen angels. The other priests are worried until Isha explains about Sensei and his power to send otherworlders back to Earth. It is also revealed that Sakshan is one of the fallen angels. Meanwhile, the heroes arrive in a small village where they meet a boy named Nir, who says he will introduce them to a valiant warrior for a price. This is later shown to be a scam that Annette fell for. Later that night, Sensei runs into Nir being threatened by 3 otherworlders. Sensei scares them off when they see his excitement at the threat of being killed and how his HP skyrockets at the thought of it. The next day, as the heroes are about to leave, Nir meets them at the gate and joins their party. The team travels to Tama's hometown, but are quickly arrested by the guards for unknown reasons. Annette, Nir, Melos, and Sensei are brought before King Siberian and are accused of kidnapping the nation's princess, revealed to be Tama, whose real name is Matilda. Tama convinces her father to let her friends go in exchange for giving up on being an adventurer. That night, the team meets Tama's former lady-in-waiting, Fauna, who reveals that Tama's mom and brother died in a storm, and Tama tried to be an adventurer to help her father, but he refuses to accept this. Meanwhile, Tama witnesses an attack on the castle by the fallen angel of gluttony, Kaibara. His ability to summon a giant mouth allows him to eat anything and take on the abilities of what he consumes. King Siberian tries to fight him, but loses his arm, saving Tama. Tama wants to fight back, but gets whisked away by her father's assistant to where the rest of the team is. Kaibara announces he has taken over the kingdom and wants to devour all of the demi-humans. The team minus Tama go to confront him, and Sensei gets the guards to let them in by saying he wants to get eaten. Tama, meanwhile, escapes the assistant and confronts Kaibara directly. Tama fights against Kaibara, but is attacked by King Siberian's own skills thanks to Kaibara's gluttony ability. Meanwhile, Sensei and the others break into Queen Lampala's old room to steal her diary. Kaibara's backstory is shown about being a spoiled rich kid who attacked other people to feel alive. Kaibara is about to consume Tama, but is stopped by Sensei. Annette tries to get Sensei to use his power, but he refuses, believing that Kaibara's story is too boring to write about. However, he finds Tama's story much more interesting. He has Tama read her mother's diary, which triggers his storyteller ability. This time, though, it awakens Tama's hidden divine beast powers that she suppressed to appease her father. She uses her new powers to defeat Kaibara. However, he gets back up as a monster due to the flesh he consumed from the Dark King. Just then, Waldelia arrives and quickly kills Kaibara before leaving when she sees Sensei is still alive. In the morning, Annette, Sensei, and Nir are leaving but are told Tama is staying. However, encouraged by her father, Tama rejoins the party. Sensei and the others stop at the World Tree in the town of Tonarico. They are surprised to find it has been taken over by otherworlders and turned into a gambling town. They ask the mayor what happened and ask them to help save the dying World Tree by driving the evil otherworlders out. They are aided by a hero named Yamada, but Sensei wanders off after running out of sleeping pills. He finds a cave where people smoke the leaves of the World Tree, but instead gets brought to a bar by a dancer named Esh and quickly becomes friends with her. Yamada destroys the casino and quickly defeats the evil otherworlders. The villagers celebrate, but soon turn on Esh, claiming she willingly helped the evil otherworlders. Sensei reveals she used her bar and skills to keep the otherworlders in check and keep the villagers safe. Nobody believes him except for Yamada, and the villagers force Esh out of town. Sensei and the others leave as well. Yamada becomes horrified when the mayor tells him he plans on continuing the otherworlders' operations and tries to hire Yamada as a bodyguard. As the heroes leave, the World Tree dries up and dies. Esh reveals herself as the World Tree Spirit, and as thanks for Sensei's kindness, she grants him an infinite supply of his sleeping pills. The heroes travel through a desert region that Nier reveals is his homeland. They are attacked by bandit otherworlders. Annette and Tama fight back, but Nier is too afraid to draw his sword. The bandits are scared off by a howl from an alleged wolf monster. Nier guides the team to the orphanage he grew up at to spend the night. Later that night, Nier runs into a mysterious man named Saito, who's been secretly donating food to the orphanage. Nier tells Saito his story and laments his cowardice while Sensei eavesdrops and is seen writing another story. The next day, the bandits return and kidnap one of the orphans. Nier is too afraid to fight again and is saved by Saito. Saito reveals he is an otherworlder and transforms into the wolf monster and savagely defeats the bandits. Nier, afraid Saito will lose his kind heart, draws his sword and stops him. Saito reveals his backstory of being unable to help a kind kid from bullies due to him being bound to a wheelchair. Sensei says it was not his handicap, but his own cowardice that stopped him. Nier says he is wrong and brings up his own cowardice. Saito stops Nier and says Nier is a true valiant warrior. Seeing this triggers Sensei's ability again and creates another summoning circle to send Saito back to Earth. He transports to just after being hit by Truckcoin and is picked up by his friend. A war wages between the dwarven kingdom of Geld and an army of monsters led by the fallen angel of misery. Isha and fellow priest Wolf are helping the dwarves. Wolf summons a tornado to blast the monsters away, but also hits Sensei by accident and destroys his coffin bed. Later that night, Sensei and Melos follow Wolf due to Melos falling in love with Wolf's pet, dubbed Femelos by Sensei. They see him talking to a woman through her front door and assume he is talking to a woman he loves and leaves. The next day, the monsters attack again, but are aided by a giant dragon ridden by the fallen angel of greed, Yuriko. Wolf recognizes her and is unable to stop her. Yuriko takes Wolf hostage and leaves to Dritten Temple. Without Wolf, the dwarves are forced to retreat. Sensei goes to the woman Wolf was talking to, revealed to be an old lady, to find out what happened. Tama volunteers the team to find and rescue Wolf. The dwarves give them new armor to help them. The now reformed bandit leader from last episode shows up to give the team a ride to Dritten Temple, except for Sensei, because he is still upset for Sensei killing his pet scorpion monster. The old lady demands that Sensei take her to see Wolf. The team confront Yuriko at the temple. She summons skeleton warriors to fight them and continues to bring them back, no matter how many the team knocks down. Isha asks Yuriko why she hates Wolf. She says she was a student and loved spending time with him, until another girl, later shown to be her sister Hikari, was summoned and Wolf focused only on her. This caused Yuriko's power of greed to awaken, and she killed Hikari. Just as Yuriko is about to kill the team, Sensei crashes into the building with his new mobile coffin. He brings the old lady who's actually Hikari, but rapidly aged due to the effects of greed. Sensei gets the two to reveal their backstories. Hikari was a sick child, and Yuriko was always forced to care for her instead of living her life. The one day she tried to, Hikari almost died, and their father blamed her. This was the night Yuriko was summoned. Hikari was summoned soon after because she did not want to live in a world without her sister. The reason Wolf stopped training Yuriko was because Hikari asked him to so she could live the life that was stolen from her. Hearing all this triggers Sensei's ability, which fixes all the damage caused by greed and sends Yuriko and Hikari back to Earth. Hikari wakes up to Yuriko opening her window, only remembering their time in the other world as a dream. As the team celebrates their victory, they're confronted by the fallen angel of misery. The team is unable to even hurt him, but he leaves after Nier blocks and chips his sword. That night, Sensei meets Sakshan in the halls of Geld Castle. He is overjoyed to see her and tries to finally complete their lover's suicide pact, but she rejects him, saying that he has changed and now has a light in his eye. Sakshan returns to the dark castle, saying she still loves him and sees his new potential. Having been rejected by Sakshan sends Sensei into a spiral. He goes on a chaotic joyride in his new mobile coffin to try and die. He speeds out of town as the others try to catch up to him. The team finds out he ended up in a mysterious cave in the town of Held. He crashes through multiple monsters before his vehicle breaks down. He finds a portal that sends him to the world of fairies and meets the Fairy Queen and her minions. The Fairy Queen deems Sensei worthy of her gift after seeing that he is not like other heroes. She gives him a whistle and tells him to keep living before sending him back. Sensei crashes into the others and a local statue. He uses the whistle to summon the Fairy Solulu to fix the statue. The team continue their journey as the Pope, fallen angels, and Waldelia all question what role Sensei is here to fulfill.